Very good morning to all my dear students. Welcome to St. Angeles Public School Bagpat online economics classes. As you know that we are working from our home. So my dear students, today we are going to discuss again chapter number 8, income determination and multiplier. Income determination means equilibrium level of income. Income determination means equilibrium level of income in an economy. So as you know that in my previous video we have discussed means there are two approaches to study, or you can say there are two approaches to determine equilibrium level of income in an economy. First is aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach. First is aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach. Aggregate demand, aggregate supply approach. You can say like this means ADAS approach. ADAS approach. And according to this approach, equilibrium level of income, according to this approach, equilibrium level of income is determined where this means aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply is determined where aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. We can say like this AD is equal to AS. AD is equal to AS means equilibrium level of income, equilibrium level of condition, equilibrium level of income condition. So I hope all of you have understood, and please see all of you have understood diagram of, because we have discussed in my previous video. See diagram of this, this is the x-axis, this is the origin, this is the y-axis, ADAS, and here income, output and employment. See, you know that aggregate demand will be like this, aggregate demand, and aggregate supply will be like this. Yes, so at this point means at E point, AD is equal to AS, AD is equal to, or you can say AS is equal to AD. But before this point, AD is greater than AS. Before this point, AD is greater than AS, and after this point, AD is less than AS. AD is less than AS, and at this point, AS is equal to AD. So we can say that at this point, equilibrium level of income will exist. At this point, equilibrium level of income will exist, but in this situation and in this portion, you can say in this portion and in this portion, equilibrium level of income will not exist. Equilibrium level of income will not exist. Now you know that equilibrium level of income means AS is equal to AD. AS is equal to AD. But you know that what do you mean by AS is equal to AD? AS is equal to AD means equilibrium level of income. But today we are going to discuss what do you mean by AD greater than AS, and what do you mean by AD less than AS. So now we are going to discuss, because you know that what do you mean by AS is equal to AD, equilibrium level of income. But today we are going to discuss again means when AD, what do you mean by AD greater than AS, and what do you mean by AD less than AS. See here, case first, AD greater than AS. AD greater than AS. AD means, you can say, what is the means, what are the different names of AD? Aggregate demand, planned planned spending, total planned expenditure, intended demand, desired demand, and aggregate supply means aggregate supply. What is the other name of aggregate supply? Planned output, desired output, intended output. But see now, please see the meaning of this. When see aggregate demand is greater than AS, aggregate demand is greater than C. When planned spending, planned spending means AD. Planned spending means AD. When planned spending is more than planned output. Planned output means AS. Planned output means AS. So I hope this is clear. When planned spending is more than planned output means AD greater than AS. Then see in this portion, then AD curve, then the AD curve lies above the 45-degree line. See, AD curve is above from the 45-degree line. 45-degree line means AS curve line. See, then the AD curve lies above the 45-degree line. 45-degree line. See, aggregate demand is above the 45-degree line. Please see in this portion. This condition exists in this portion. See, then the aggregate demand curve lies above the 45-degree line. It means that you know that please see here, AD greater than AS. In simple terms, what do you mean by AD greater than AS? Please try to understand in simple terms. Means aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply. Means consumers and firms. Are planning to. Means you know that aggregate demand means planned spending means planned demand. This is not actual demand and this is not actual supply. This is planned and this is also planned. Means planned spending and planned output. Aggregate supply means output. Means this is planned and this is also planned. What does it mean? It means consumers and firms are planning. To purchase more than the firms are willing to produce. See, it means consumers and firms together. It means that consumer and firms together would be buying more goods. See, condition is aggregate demand greater than AS. What does it mean? Consumption of firms means consumers and firms together would be buying more goods than the firms. The firms are planning to produce. See, please try to understand. एग्रीगेट डिमांड ग्रेटर देन एएस है, इसका मतलब डिमांड ज्यादा हो रही है और सप्लाई क्या हो रही है बेटा, कम. इट मींस डिमांड ज्यादा हो रही है और सप्लाई क्या हो रही है, कम. ठीक है. और यू कैन से दिस इज नॉट ए इक्विलिब्रियम लेवल ऑफ कंडीशन. You can say this is not a equilibrium level of income condition, because you know that equilibrium level of income condition will exist when AS is equal to AD. but here AD is not equal to AS, so this is not a equilibrium level of income condition. This is not a equilibrium level of income. So I am writing here, see, it means consumers and firms together would be buying more goods than the firms are planning to produce. मीन्स जितना फर्म प्लानिंग कर रही है प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए, उससे कहीं ज्यादा कंज्यूमर और फर्म प्लानिंग कर रहे हैं दूसरी फर्म. और सपोज सी, दिस इज ए कंज्यूमर, दिस इज फर्म बी, एंड दिस इज कंज्यूमर, एंड दिस इज फर्म बी, एंड दिस इज फर्म सी. मीन्स A प्लस बी, मीन्स ये जो दोनों है कंज्यूमर एंड फर्म, ये दोनों प्लानिंग कर रहे हैं. इनकी जो प्लानिंग है वो इस फर्म के प्रोड्यूस करने की प्लानिंग से ज्यादा है. मीन्स इन दोनों की जो प्लानिंग है परचेज करने की, वो इसके प्रोड्यूस करने से ज्यादा है. तो बेटा अब इस केस में क्या होगा, इस केस में क्या होगा, डिमांड ग्रेटर देन सप्लाई होगी, तो इन्फ्लेशन इंक्रीज करेगा. बट उस केस में ये क्या करेगा, प्रोड्यूसर अपना मोर आउटपुट प्रोड्यूस करेगा. तो ये मोर आउटपुट प्रोड्यूस करेगा, तो जब ये ज्यादा प्रोड्यूस करेगा तो इसकी सप्लाई किसके बराबर हो जाएगी, एग्रीगेट डिमांड की. लेकिन जब ये सप्लाई इंक्रीज करेगा तो क्या होगा इकोनॉमी में, वही हम लोगों को देखना है. ठीक है, अब आपको ये तो समझ में आ गया होगा कि इसमें प्रोड्यूसर क्या करेगा. ठीक, सी, फर्म्स आर प्लानिंग टू प्रोड्यूस, फर्म्स आर प्लानिंग टू प्रोड्यूस. as a result producer will produce more output. This leads to this. अब देखो बेटा, यहां पर उसको आउटपुट इंक्रीज करना है, तो वो आउटपुट इंक्रीज करने के लिए उसको ज्यादा लेबर चाहिए होगी. तो ज्यादा लेबर चाहिए होगी